So the last part of animating the cameras is to use the camera 1 here, the last part of the timeline from 450 to 600. So to do that we will zoom out a bit here, select camera 1, and we will see the keyframes here for camera 1. So we will copy these two keyframes and place them here at the end. So when they are selected, or if they are not selected, you can make a box selection by pressing the left mouse button and drag a box around these two keyframes. Then you can press Ctrl C, or you can also right click here to copy, Ctrl C, and then we can press Ctrl V here because the copy will be placed where the time slider is. So now we have a copy of these two keyframes here. So then we will change the camera here in this viewport. So I'll press N when I have the cursor here. Change that, clear the box, then select eyedropper, select camera 1. Then press N again to move or hide the menu. So now we're looking through the camera 1. So if I now drag the time slider, we see it will move in the same way as it does from the beginning. But we want it to move the opposite direction, so that means we have to, I will deselect the keyframes first by selecting here or click here. I grab the first keyframe and drag that up to 600. See, now I have to zoom in and make sure that the keyframe is at 600, like so, and then we will move the last keyframe to 450. Let's see now, 450. Drag that keyframe to 450 so that we will mirror the movement of the path. So that means if I now drag the time slider, we see that the camera will go back to the starting point as we had from the beginning, like so. And the next step is to, I will zoom out so that we see the whole timeline, like so. The next step is to switch cameras here in this viewfinder and this viewport. Because if I now move the time slider from the beginning and drag the time slider, we see only the camera 1 here. But here at 150 it should switch to camera 2, and here at 300 it should switch to camera 3, and at 400 it should switch to camera 1. So to do that we are going to bring in the menu here, press N, then we uncheck this box, and then I will hide the menu again. So here at frame 1, I will go back to frame 1 here. Here we should make a selection so that we see camera 1. So I select camera 1, and the time slider is at frame 1. Now we can go to marker and bind camera to markers. So we see now camera 1 starts here. Then we move the time slider up to 150. Here the camera 2 should start or switch to camera 2 here. So I select the camera 2, have the time slider at 150, go to marker, bind camera to markers. So now we have camera 2 and it switched to camera 2 here, like so. Then we go to 200 or 300, sorry, 300, select the third camera. When the camera is selected and we have a time slider here, we go to marker and bind camera to markers. So now it will switch between cameras. Then here at 450 we select the first camera and the time slider is here. We click marker and bind camera to markers. So now it will switch back to camera 1 and it will go back to the starting point, like so. So now when you play the whole sequence, you will see that the cameras will switch here in this view or the viewfinder. like so. But I think I will change the focal length of this camera. Here camera 3, so I will select camera 3 and come over here to camera properties and change to 40 and hit enter. So we will see a little bit more of the engine here in camera 3, like so. Yeah. So that's how you can animate the cameras and also switch between cameras. So next step is to make a short video of the whole sequence. So before we do that, we will save this scene, Ctrl S, and then we will continue in the next video.